Welcome to SoundBite, a low-carb, high-protein, bite-sized portion of that which makes America.
Your hosts for this morsel of Americana are Christy and I
and Laura Bynum.
Our first course will be, what else? The Constitution of the United States.
Last week we covered the 7 articles that comprise the main body of the Constitution. This week we're going to begin with the First Amendment. The entire First Amendment reads as follows: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Of all the 27 amendments that have been passed, the First Amendment was certainly considered by our founding fathers the most important and is arguably the most debated of our constitutional freedoms. So we're going to break this down into various components and give it its fair due. Today we're going to talk about the freedom of religious expression.
We asked a few people their opinions on the freedom of religion.
How involved in regulation of the religious exercise do you think the government should be?
I don't think the government should be involved in the regulation of religious exercise, but that's a kind of complex question which I don't think can be answered in a single sentence, because obviously a religion that promotes sacrificing your neighbors and things of that sort is not necessarily one that should go unregulated.
The government would have to step in if someone started, beheading other individuals because they thought they were infidels or something like that. Honestly, it's a question of if it infringes upon anything like life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness.
I don't think the government should judge anybody's religion.
This really is a question that relates to underlying concepts of morality and so forth. For me, personally, morality is really the practice of not taking from anyone what you wouldn't want to have taken from you.
In 1959, the Pennsylvania legislature voted that each Pennsylvania public school would be required to have students recite 10 verses from the Holy Bible daily, followed by the Lord's Prayer. The parents of a high school student sued the Abington School District, and the case, settled in 1963, was found in favor of the petitioning. Justice Tom Clark wrote the court's opinion, stating, "The place of religion in our society is an exalted one, but religion's proper place is in the home, the church, and the individual heart and mind. In the relationship between man and religion, the state is firmly committed to a position of neutrality." A more recent case that further cements the separation of church and state occurred in mid-July of 2004. The Sixth Circuit Court in Cincinnati ruled that an Ohio judge removed a poster of the 10 Commandments from his courtroom. The ruling court found that the poster could not be considered of solely historical importance and therefore was to be taken down.
There are numerous places where the separation of church and state remain ambiguous. We're still held to a procedure that began with a hand held over the Bible. Our money still says, "In God we trust," and further upheld by a recently decided case in California, our pledge still contains the words, "under God." Eventually, we have to ask ourselves the circular questions: at what point does the separation of church and state require a cleansing of our entire vocabulary of faith-based terms and becomes, therefore, intrusive on our ability to accurately portray our beliefs? And then at what point does a country made up of so many people with so many diverse faiths become open enough to make everyone feel at home?
These are difficult questions that require well-formed answers. Do you think it's more important that the first segment of the First Amendment be interpreted to follow a completely free exercise of religion and a more politically correct environment that ensures everyone feels comfortable?
I like the latter more. I think in many respects it should be politically correct.
Well, I think government should just keep its nose out of such things, and I think notions of politically correct and so forth are just bogus ideas that are bantered about by people who really don't have any concept of what they're talking about.
Make sure everybody feels comfortable.
We leave you with a little something to cleanse your palate. A sampling of the dissenting argument delivered by Mr. Justice Stewart in the 1963 Abington School District v. Schempp case. What our Constitution indispensably protects is the freedom of each of us, be he Jew or agnostic, Christian or atheist, Buddhist or freethinker, to believe or disbelieve, to worship or not worship, to pray or keep silent, according to his own conscience, uncoerced and unrestrained by government. SoundBite was written and produced by Christy Uden and Laura Bynum. Music by Kevin Elliott.